Okay, here we go. Friday, July 3rd, 2026. This is titled The Boring Part is the Point. And I do this today because we're at an important point in Mindset U. It's not a shiny point. It's not an exciting point. It's not the point where everyone is fired up because something new just started. All right, we're at the real point. Every program starts with ambition and compliance. Coaches say, do this, you do it. Coaches ask a question, you respond quick. Coaches give you a task, boom, completed. Coaches give you a form, fill it out right away. Okay, that part is easy to mistake for commitment. But early commitment is often just novelty, kind of like new gear on a team, right? It looks good, feels good, sounds good. Everyone's bought in because it's new and it's shiny. It always feels like progress. But then the work starts to repeat. The questions sound familiar. The reflections feel the same. The attention work doesn't feel exciting. The daily check-ins start to feel like one more thing to do. All right, the results, they haven't shown up fast enough. Then athletes start to drift. It's not always dramatic though. It's quiet. There's a form skipped. They don't answer one question on Slack. They skim a question. They stop putting attention on a certain task. They say, I forgot. I was busy. I was busy. I'll get to it later. Later becomes tomorrow. Tomorrow becomes a pattern. This is where most athletes are right now. Not all, but enough for me to record this. And I want to be very clear about this. This doesn't mean you're a bad kid or a bad athlete or a bad person. It doesn't mean you don't care. It doesn't mean you don't want to get better. But it does mean we've reached a part of the program, like we always do, where your behavior starts telling the truth. At the beginning, ambition talks. In the middle, behavior talks louder. There's many reasons athletes stop engaging, stop doing what they said they were going to do. And I understand. Some of you are tired, busy, you're distracted, you're overwhelmed. You don't understand why the small stuff matters yet. And some of you are waiting to feel motivated. Maybe you use coaches, parents, and teachers. You're used to people chasing you. Some of you are avoiding tasks because a task gives you evidence you may not want to look at. Some of you might be protecting your ego, hoping talent will cover that gap. Some of you are so used to instant feedback from these screens we use every day that slow improvement feels like failure. Some of you are in the habit of doing just enough to avoid getting called out. But the biggest reason is simpler than all of that. It's boring. This is boring work. It's repetitive. It doesn't clap for you. It's not exciting. It doesn't give you that dopamine hit. It doesn't hand you a trophy or a medal or a ribbon or anything because you reflected on your attention for 3 minutes. There's no immediate consequence when you don't do it. And that's a big part because most athletes have been trained to respond to consequence, not ownership. If there's punishment, they move. I can't make you run polls. If there's a deadline, they move. If a coach is mad, they move. If parents get on their case, yeah, they move. If playing time is threatened, yeah, you're going to move. But that isn't discipline. That's pressure management. I used to enforce a lot more consequence. I used to chase a lot harder. I used to make it uncomfortable when players didn't do what they said they were going to do. And I don't do that really that much anymore. I'll do it from time to time. And it's not because I don't care. It's not because the work doesn't matter. It's not because I don't notice. I notice everything. But I don't want to create short-term compliance because that's all consequence does when it becomes the main driver. It teaches you to move when someone is watching. It teaches you to respond when someone pushes. It teaches you to perform responsibility instead of becoming responsible. When I used to coach collegiate baseball, high school guys, I used to set up cameras, just little handy cams, little, old recording devices. I would put them on tripods around the field when they're throwing, when they're stretching, and I wouldn't even turn them on because they think they're being watched. So when you think you're being watched, you do the work a little bit. You're a little less inclined to skip things, to cheat yourself. Okay, but that's not the goal of Mindset U. The goal is not to make you good at answering Coach Curtis. The goal is to make you better at owning your attention, your behavior, your habits, your routine, your standards, and your development when nobody is standing over you watching. All right, that's the game. Monthly reports are going to go out today. It's going to go to you, the player, and it's going to go to these lovely people flipping the bill for this, your parents. The report's not going to be emotional. It's not going to be dramatic. It's not going to be mean. It's not going to be anything. It's just going to simply show what happened. Because reports are not consequence. A report is a mirror. Most people don't struggle because they don't know what to do. They struggle because they don't want to look in the mirror. So before we talk about talent, confidence, goals, we're playing at the next level, let's talk about the little things. Have you submitted the goal blueprint pictures I asked? Do I have them? Did I ask you to review a document with questions at the end? Have you done it? Have you answered? Did you read it properly or did you skim because you wanted to say it was done? Are you answering the questions with thought or are you just trying to get through them? Maybe putting what you think I want to hear. Are you doing the little things? Are you following the 10-10 method I introduced? And here's the question underneath all of that. Ask yourself this question. Am I doing what I said I would do? Am I keeping the promise I made to myself? Not to Coach Curtis, not to my parents, not to my other coaches, to myself, to my goals, to the player I keep saying I want to become. Because that's where confidence starts. Not in a speech, not in a recording like this, not in a quote, not in somebody barking at you from the stands. Confidence starts when your behavior gives you proof. Everybody's searching for confidence. Everybody wants to feel confident before they act. But you're not going to rub some magic lamp and have confidence pop out. You're not going to magically feel confident because your parents yelled, "Be confident," from the stands. Coach going, "Hey, have some confidence out there." Yeah, okay, great, cool, sounds great. Okay, confidence requires proof. Confidence requires evidence. When you submit the blueprint picture, that creates proof. Well, a lot of this evidence comes from doing the boring, mundane, repetitive things over and over and over until your brain finally has something real to trust. Did you answer the questions properly? Did you read everything? Did you think about it? That creates proof. When you read a document and think about the questions at the end, that creates evidence. Evidence that you are doing the work. When you reset your attention instead of drifting, that creates proof. When you do what you said you would do, even when nobody's impressed, that creates proof. Confidence isn't something you wait for. It's something you build. And you build it by stacking evidence. Tiny, 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 boring, quiet, very unsexy evidence. That's the stuff that holds up under pressure. Because this is where the work stops being theory and starts becoming behavior. Right, we introduced the 10-10 method. It's very simple. Control what's within 10 feet of you. Reset every 10 seconds. Repeat. That's it. Simple. It's not easy. 10 feet means your radius, the space around you, your body, your breathing, words, tone, posture, your phone, your room, your bed, your bag, your desk, your water bottle, and all the dishes you got piling up somewhere in the house, your spikes, your glove. Is your glove clean? Is it tight? Is it relaced? The dugout, right? The mound, your position, the dirt around your position, your on deck circle, your batter's box, all of it. That's your 10 feet. Most athletes lose attention because they keep putting their minds somewhere they have no control. The umpire, the coach, the pitcher they're facing, right? A last at bat, an error, a future at bat. the parents, the scout, teammates who messed up. I already said it, the future, results, other people's opinion. None of that is within your 10 feet. It's not inside it. Your 10 feet is where your work lives. So when your attention runs away, you bring it back. What can I control right now? My breath, my body, my eyes, my words, my thoughts, my next step, my next rep, the next pitch, my next decision. That's the second part. We reset this every 10 seconds. That doesn't mean life magically becomes easy every 10 seconds either. It means you don't let one bad moment own the next moment. Bad swing, reset. Missed pitch, reset. Lazy thought, reset. Clanked a ball behind the dish, reset. Phone grabbed your attention, shoot, reset. Drifted off, reset. You get called out, feel embarrassed, anything. Guess what I'm going to say? Reset. You don't need to fix your whole life in one gigantic heroic moment. That's usually your ego saying that it's got to be a big thing. You need to win the next 10 seconds. Can you focus for 10 seconds? Can you breathe for 10 seconds? Can you listen, like really listen for 10 seconds? Can you put your eyes where they belong for 10 seconds? Like keep them there. And can you control your body language for 10 seconds? Can you give full attention to one single question for 10 seconds? That's how attention is trained. All right? It's not through hype. It's not through getting fired up. It's through small returns. Attention leaves, you bring it back. Attention leaves again. Hey man, get back here. That is the rep. And every time you do that, you're training the part of you that can stay in the game when things get boring, slow, frustrated, or uncomfortable. Right? And like I said, like you're also creating evidence. Every time you reset, you're proving something to yourself. I can come back. I can control what's in front of me. I can choose the next 10 seconds. I can keep a promise when the emotional reward is low. That's confidence training. It's not fake confidence. It's not your chest puffed out and wearing sunglasses inside. Look at me. I'm cool confidence. That's real confidence. Okay. It comes from evidence. At the beginning of this program, I did tell everybody this wouldn't always be exciting. I said this work would get boring. I said the goal was not entertainment. I try to make it as exciting as I can. But I said this is going to be about your attention, repetition, honesty, and behavior. So here we are. Welcome to the boring part, which means we're exactly where we need to be. We all need to get to this point. We all need to be, smacked upside the head once in a while. Okay? Because boring works. We need that reminder. Boring is where separation happens. Everybody can be excited for a week. We can all post the quote on social media. Can all say they want to play college baseball. Do you want, baby? Everybody can say they want to get stronger, tougher, more focused, more confident, more consistent. That's nice. It's real nice. These are nice words. But now do the boring things. Fill out the reflections, submit the blueprint picture, review the document, answer the questions at the end, show up to the call on time, answer the questions properly, think before you respond. Check your screen time, notice your attention, tell the truth about your habits, repeat the routines, reset after a bad rep, go back to work when nobody's impressed, and ask yourself again, am I doing what I said I would do? Am I keeping the promise I made to myself? Not to Coach Curtis, not to my parents, not to my coaches, to myself, to my goals. Because if the answer is yes, then you're building evidence. But if the answer is no, you're also building evidence. Right? And that's the part people miss. Every action teaches you something about yourself. When you follow through, you're collecting proof that you can trust yourself. When you avoid the work and you keep avoiding the work, you're collecting proof that your word is negotiable. Right? And it might sound harsh, but good. It should. because your confidence is listening. Okay, that's where the player's built. Here's a good quote: "A focused fool can accomplish more than a distracted genius." And a lot of talented players are walking around thinking talent is the advantage. It's not. You get to a certain level, everybody's got talent. And talent's only useful if it can be directed. A distracted genius is still distracted. Right? You might have the swing, you might have the arm, the body, the wheels, the dream, the tools. But if their attention's leaking all day, the talent gets scattered. A focused fool, and I say fool with love here, right? They can keep their eyes on the task. It's not magic. They're not special. They're not waiting for the perfect emotional state. They just do the thing in front of them long enough for it to stack. Okay, and that's terrifying to talented people because it means you can be passed by someone less gifted who can hold attention longer than you. Okay, that's the reality. Another great quote: "Boring is what most people call the work it takes to become the best." And most people call it boring because they're addicted to novelty. Right? They want the new drill, the new data, the new bat, the new coach or program. Right? They need to see a new video. They need a new identity. An oven mitt ain't going to fix this, kids. Let me tell you right now. They need a new reason to feel like things are changing. But the best players don't need everything to feel new. They can repeat. They can stay with the same focus point, same swing, same throwing routine, same attention cues, same reflection process. That's rare now, and screens have made it worse. Our phone has trained your brain to expect stimulation every few seconds. It's designed to do that. Scroll, swipe, like, message, notification, boop, boop, click, comment, another highlight, some drama, ring, noise, all this stuff, right? Then I ask you to sit with one question about your attention, and suddenly your brain acts like I've asked you to read a bunch of tax laws. Yeah, it's not because the task is impossible. It's because your attention has been trained to run away when stimulation drops. Okay, that's why this matters. Mindset U is not just about baseball, not even close. It's about whether you can hold your mind and your attention on something that doesn't entertain you immediately, because baseball demands that. It's boring until it isn't. You stand around, you wait, you think, you breathe, you reset again, you fail, you reset again, you wait again, and then suddenly something happens, right? Balls hit to you. You get your 3-1 pitch. The moment arrives. And the game asks one question always: are you here? Were you here? Not physically, mentally. Are you here? Okay, that's attention. Attention's not just looking interested. It's not just, nodding when the coach talks or, making sure you get the signals. It's great. It's awesome. It's not just being present when the moment is enjoyable. Attention's the ability to put your mind where it needs to be and bring it back when it leaves. That's trainable. That's what we're doing. But training attention is boring. Welcome to the work. Discipline is doing the boring work. Everybody uses this word, discipline, discipline, discipline. It's just doing the boring work. It's not heroic. It's not dramatic. It's not what you feel like doing, right? It doesn't get applause. It doesn't get seen. That's the boring work. And discipline is not a personality trait. It's not something you either have or you don't. Discipline is a behavior repeated when the emotional reward is low. And that's the whole thing. Can you do the work when it doesn't feel meaningful yet? Can you complete the reflection before the results show up? Can you stay with the system before the system gives you proof? Most athletes quit systems too early. They don't give the work enough time to compound. They try something for a couple of weeks, they get bored, and then decide it didn't work. It didn't work for me. No. You didn't work it long enough. That's the big difference. And this is where confidence gets misunderstood again. Most people think confidence comes first. They need to feel confident before they act. It's wrong order, man. Action comes first. Evidence comes first. Confidence follows. You do the mundane task. You keep the promise. You control your 10 feet. You reset. You answer properly. You show up when the work is boring. You do what you said you were going to do. And then you do that again. And then again. And then again. And eventually your brain starts to believe you. Not because it's some dramatic declaration you made to everybody, because you have proof. The proof becomes the confidence. Am I getting repetitive here? Good. I hope so. I hope you hear this. Here's another good quote. You can beat 99% of people if you can master the shame of rejection, the boredom of repetition, and the pain of feedback. The shame of rejection means you can handle not being picked, not being praised, not always getting the role, and not being seen the way you want to be seen and still keep going. The boredom of repetition means you can do the same useful thing again and again and again without it needing to feel exciting. The pain of feedback, that means you can hear the truth without turning into, some lawyer for your own excuses. Most athletes don't lose because they lack information. They lose because they can't handle those three things. Rejection makes you shrink, not being seen, right? Not getting the high five. Repetition makes them quit. It's boring. Gosh, I'm not seeing any results. Feedback makes them defensive, right? Constructive criticism. Hey, redo this. I want to see this better. That's the work. And nobody can do it for you. Right? Parents can pay, coaches can guide. I can teach, I can challenge, I can remind you, I can hold up the mirror, but I cannot lend you my attention. That is yours. I also can't lend you my confidence. That is yours too. You have to create the proof and the evidence for your own. Okay? It's not your parents' belief, it's not your coach's belief, it's not your teammates' opinions, it's yours. It's your belief, it's your proof, it's your evidence. You have to be able to look at your own behavior and say, I did what I said I would do. I kept the promise I made to myself. That's where my confidence starts to become stable. Here's another quote. Every successful person that I've ever encountered has gone through many years of doing work without reward, where they have to do things that other people find boring. Okay? Years. Many years. Not days. Not one summer. Not a couple months. Not a half a year. Years. Work without reward. That doesn't mean no progress is happening. It means the reward is not loud yet. Right? Roots are quiet. Nobody claps for roots. But without roots, the tree folds when the weather shows up. This program is the root work. Daily attention, reflection, planning, truth, routine, resetting, communication, responsibility. It's not the sexy work. Okay? Sexy doesn't last. Systems do. And most people can be outperformed by just simply not stopping when things become tedious. All right, that is the truth right there. You just need to outlast it. Okay. Most people stop when it gets tedious. Okay, they stop when the novelty wears off. They stop when the result is slow. And they stop when nobody notices and the high fives aren't there. And, you're not getting recognition for what you're doing. All right, they stop when the work just becomes ordinary. So here it is. Don't stop. That's not complicated. Hard? Sure. Complicated? Not at all. Talent accumulation comes from consistently performing mundane tasks in greater amounts than what most people consider sensible. Let me try to simplify that. You get better because you do simple stuff longer than normal people are willing to do. You hit more balls with intention. You throw with more attention. You sleep better and more often. You reflect on yourself honestly more often. You manage your phone and screen time more often. You recover more often. You reset more often. You repeat quality more often. Then one day, everyone goes, wow, you're so talented. It's funny how that works. And one day people, they can call you confident. It's also funny how that works. They see the confidence, but they don't see the boring evidence underneath it. They didn't see the quiet choices and the reflections and the forms and the moments where you wanted to quit and you didn't. Right? They didn't see the times you asked, am I doing what I said I'd do? And then adjust your behavior. Right? They just see a player who looks like he believes in himself. But again, it has to be built. If you want an extraordinary life, you have to master ordinary days. Okay? An extraordinary life means probably the goals that you have, right? The big goals, they are extraordinary goals. You have to master the ordinary days, all right? Your future is not built on the day you feel inspired. It's built on the ordinary days, right? A Tuesday when you're tired, games where you went 0 for 4, mornings, when you don't feel like getting up, and a night when you just want to be on your phone. That's where your future gets built. Okay. In the ordinary version, right? The one who either does the task or doesn't do the task. So we'll wrap it up here. Let me ask you, do you need this to be exciting? Or can you become the kind of person who does the work because it's the work? That's the shift from compliance to ownership. Compliance says, I'll do this because coach asked me to. Ownership says, I'll do this because this is who I am. Compliance says, remind me. Ownership says, no, I've got it and it's scheduled. Compliance says, what happens if I don't? Ownership says, I don't want to be the kind of person who skips what matters. And ownership asks better questions all day. Am I doing what I said I do? Am I keeping the promise I made to myself? Am I acting in line with my goals? Am I building evidence or am I building excuses? That's the level we're moving towards. Every day, you can draw a line in the sand. And draw it right now. It can start right now. It's true. You can wake up and decide today's different. Right? You can reset after a bad week. You can look at the report and decide you're not going to keep being loose with the details. You can stop waiting for the perfect feeling and you can start right now. But every time you draw that line, remember what it means. It's not magic. It's not a speech. It's not a personality change because you got fired up for a couple minutes. That line in the sand is a reminder that the work doesn't stop. You don't get to say, new me, then drift off again by lunch. You don't get to say, hey man, I'm locked in now, and then avoid the exact same task that proves whether that's true or not. And you don't get to restart every Monday and pretend the pattern isn't the pattern. And a reset is useful. Living in a constant reset is not. At some point, you got to build. Building is simple. Do the thing. Tell the truth. Control your 10 feet. Win the next 10 seconds. Keep that promise. Repeat it again tomorrow. It's simple. Simple doesn't mean easy. Simple means clear. The athletes who win usually aren't doing some secret thing nobody else knows about. They're doing the obvious things with more consistency than everybody else. That's the insult of success. It's mostly obvious. People just don't want to do it long enough. So this weekend, I want you to pay attention. Not perfectly, just honestly. Notice when your brain reaches for the easy thing. Notice when you avoid the boring task. Notice when you give some lazy answer. Notice when you want credit for intention instead of behavior. Notice when you're waiting for someone else to make your standards matter. Then bring your attention back. 10 feet, 10 seconds, reset, repeat. It's not flashy. It's definitely not complicated. And it's not exciting at all. But that's good. That means it might actually work. One last thing. Keep saying that. I'm not mad if you drifted. If you're in this program and you're drifting off, I am not upset. Trust me. Drift happens. But drift without awareness becomes identity. Okay, you miss it once, fine. You miss it twice, well, look at it. You miss it repeatedly, man, now we got a whole pattern. Maybe that is your pattern, and patterns matter. Your report will show patterns. It's not to shame you, it's to show you. Remember, it's the mirror. Because if we can see it, we can work with it. But if you keep hiding behind busy, bored, tired, forgot, later, then you're not training performance, you're training avoidance. And avoidance is expensive. Okay. It costs confidence, trust, development. It's going to cost you opportunities. It's going to cost you the version of you that you keep saying you want to become. Don't make this emotional. Make it behavioral. Do the boring thing. Submit the blueprint picture. Read the document. Answer the questions. Reflect honestly. Put your attention on the task. Look at the report. Own what's yours. Reset where you need to. Control within 10 feet. Win the next 10 seconds. Keep the promise. Keep going. Ask yourself one more time, am I doing what I said I would do? Am I keeping the promise I made to myself? Not to Coach Curtis, not to my parents, not to my coaches, to myself, to my goals, to the player I keep saying I want to become. Because when you do that, you create proof. Okay? Proof creates evidence. When you create evidence, you create confidence. Real confidence. I hope everybody has a great weekend. Enjoy it. Right? Have fun, play hard, be with your friends, be with your family, laugh, do all the things. But don't turn your attention off. Right? Attention doesn't need to be a perfect schedule. It needs to be a place to go. Put your attention on what matters. Then go do the boring work again. Let's get to work.